Hello again, ladies and gentlemen. It's Maxwell Ivey. Max to my friends. Some of you know me as the Blind Blogger or Mr. Midway. And today I want to share the audio and video with you of the interview or question and answer session I did with the fine people at the Student Blogging Society for Kent University in England. This is something I've been talking about for a long time. I know that. It took a long time for it to come to fruition. Part of it was on my end, and part of it was on theirs. You see, about a year ago, I posted an advertisement or a post on Blogger LinkUp saying that I was available for public speaking. And Mario from their society, which at that time wasn't even a society yet, sent me an email and said that he would like to have me address their group over Skype and give a short talk. And I said, well, there's a lot of challenges in there as far as making it all happen, but I'm up for a good challenge just about all the time. So he said, I'll start working on it and let you know when we're ready. Well, a few months later, we found out that before they could invite me, they had to officially become a society on campus, and that took a long time. Then once they put in all their applications, it took a while to get approved. And then finally, once they were approved, we found out that the university doesn't allow anyone to give a live talk on campus without knowing who they are, investigating their background, and finding out what they want to talk about. In some cases, they even require the speech to be submitted prior to the event. So we compromised. They said, how about we do a question and answer session, and me and the other members of the group will come up with some questions about blogging, social media, and especially about being a new blogger, and you can answer them over Skype, and then we'll post that online. I said, well, that sounds great, because after all, it's not perfect, but it's still a great opportunity. It was, at the time, going to be my first chance to share with anybody via video, because before then I had only done radio and podcast interviews and, of course, guest posts. So I'm very happy that this finally came about. Mario and his group over there, there's some great people. I have no doubt that we're going to hear from a lot of them in the future as some of the top bloggers, some of the rock stars of the blogosphere. And I appreciate you taking the time to listen to what we did together. Next up, you'll see the actual session. It lasts about 20 minutes, and then I'll come back with some comments.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Maxwell Ivey. Most people call me Max. Some people know me as Mr. Midway or the Blind Blogger. And I'm here today because thankfully Mario saw me online and invited me to come and share some of my experiences and my knowledge about blogging and the whole business of being an online business owner. And so we're going to have a good conversation today, and I'm looking forward to some great questions from Mario so that hopefully I can share some experience and maybe inspire and motivate some of y'all to do even more with your blogs.
First, I'll ask you questions from my society members, and then anything else you have to say, any other words of wisdom, please go ahead.
That sounds fine.
It's 11 o'clock.
The first question is, when did you stop blogging?
I started my first blog about 6.5 years ago, and my second blog, the blindblogger.net's been up for about 1.5 years now.
Did you struggle to gain traffic at first? If so, how did you overcome that problem?
Yeah. That actually took a long time. I started with with the first website in September of 2006. It was I actually had pages and equipment listings by January of 2007. I didn't start the blog for a couple years after that, but I struggled getting traffic. I would have 200 visitors a month, and be excited about that. When I got to 1,000 people visiting a month, I was like, man, I'm doing something. But I wasn't really making that much progress. My traffic wasn't as good as I thought it was, because a few years after that, I met a lady named Adrienne Smith, who's known as the blog commenting superstar. And she taught me a lot about generating traffic for my website. And the primary website got to the point at one point where it was getting 15,000 and having over 100,000 page loads a month. And that happened because she convinced me that it's great to have a blog. Producing quality content on a regular basis is fine, but until you promote that content, you're not going to get the traffic. And the best way to promote the content is to build relationships online. And the easiest way to build those relationships is through blog commenting, because, your first question is, what about traffic and what about comments? Everybody wants to have traffic. Everybody wants to have comments. Everybody wants to be linked to other sites and show up in the search results. So since we all have that same interest, we're all worried about that one big thing of getting the traffic. Every time you comment on somebody else's blog or share their posts on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, wherever, you're helping them come to the attention of Google and the other search engines, and you're doing them a service. And you do that on a consistent basis, and eventually it gives you the opportunity to introduce yourself to them and become connected to them on a more personal level, where you may get invited to write a guest post or be included in a roundup post, or like I was, be mentioned in a post of 5 bloggers that Adrian Smith thought everybody should read because they're inspiring. The blog commenting led to podcast interviews, and I got a taste of doing interviews, and that led to me doing more interviews. So I'm a big believer in building relationships, getting to know people online, using blog commenting, social media sharing, direct emailing, and the more you treat your blog and the other bloggers like it's a community, like it's a neighborhood, the better relationships you're going to build, and the more benefits you're going to receive from them in the form of traffic, comments, and other opportunities.
Was there a specific reason that you started blogging? If so, what was it?
I started blogging because everybody said I needed to have a blog. I had no idea what blogging was or why it was good for me, but enough people said, Max, if you're online, a website's cool, but you're really supposed to have a blog. Everybody's got a blog. So I did it because I thought it was what I was supposed to be doing. And for the most part, I believe in blogs because they do give you an opportunity to update your content on a regular basis, and it allows you to get more personal with yourself and with your audience than you can from your static website pages.
What are your tips for new bloggers?
The first thing is to determine what you can live with as far as the blogging schedule. If you can blog every day, whether that be a 500-word post or a 2,500 word post, if you can do it every day, then do it every day. If you can't, then do it every week or every 2 weeks. But you want to establish that you will consistently deliver quality content. That's one of the best ways to attract viewers, because people, if they do happen to find you, either because a friend of theirs recommends you or a search engine pops your name out or one of your posts gets picked up, seen by somebody who's important, they're going to want to be able to come back to you on a regular basis. So start by writing good posts. They don't exactly have to be huge posts, or they don't have to be every day or 2 or 3 times a day like some people do it. But be consistent and give your best effort.
How do you feel about having adverts on your blog?
I personally think advertisements on your site are perfectly fine as long as you remember a few things. One, people don't like to see cluttered sites. They don't like huge numbers of ads. So limit the number of ads and the placement on your site. Maybe have one part of your sidebar or one part of your footer or header that's available for ads, and the rest of it not have them. Or pick one particular spot in your blog post where you'll put an ad, but not have 5 or 6 ads on every page. That's one thing. The other thing is that while stuff that moves and flashes is cool looking, it can distract people from your message and it can slow down your page load. So simple ads are probably best. I don't personally believe in AdSense or the other widgets or plugins or whatever you want to call them that generate ads and post them in a certain part of your website. My main problem with them is, as a visually impaired computer user, I just don't believe I'm in a position to set the parameters properly so that I get the right kinds of ads on my website. I tried AdSense in the early days of my Midway Marketplace blog, and half the time the advertisers were my competitors. So if you can't keep, if it's great having that money coming in, but when you consider how little income you actually receive from AdSense, even with huge traffic numbers, it's still not a lot of money. You certainly don't want to be advertising your competition unless you're getting paid really well for it. So I would say choose ads selectively, possibly recruit ads. And another thing that's becoming more popular now are paid blog posts and paid reviews. And I personally don't have a problem with those either, as long as you make it clear that you did get paid for doing the review. For example, if I put an affiliate link on my website to a product somebody has asked me to represent for them, I will put the link and I'll make it very clear that I do get paid if they decide to click that link. But yeah, in general, I don't have a problem with ads as long as they're limited to the number and the placement on the site, selective as to quality, and that if you are getting paid to blog post, if you make it clear that you're receiving a commission.
Does it take time to plan your blog posts, or are they spontaneous?
I am kind of disorganized or unorganized when it comes to my blog posts. I have a goal of writing one post a week, and my goal is to have it out on Monday. But my process is like this. I get the idea for the post, and then I carry that idea around with me in my head for a day or two and think about it in odd moments, say like when I'm petting my dog or taking a shower or doing something else that's kind of mindless. And then I sit down and write the post. And in general, I can do a 2,000 word post in about 2 hours, including doing the editing to add any photos that I have or any links that I want to include. I understand there are people who spend days writing a post, and I have a good friend who edited my book. Her name is Lorraine Regularly, and she has written some posts where they've been a month in planning. But it all depends on the purpose of the post. And of course, if you're going to spend that kind of time, you may want to think about converting it to an ebook, and you definitely want to promote the heck out of it if you're going to put that kind of effort into one post.
Are there any bloggers that inspire you?
My blogger inspiration, I've got lots of inspirations that have, authors, but I'm trying to think as far as bloggers. I would say my three biggest influences online would be Robin Hallett, who is an intuitive healer, Farnoosh Brock, who left a very, very lucrative corporate job to follow her passion as a blogger and help other people that were leaving corporate America or corporate wherever they're at to go into their own businesses, either because they wanted to or because they were being forced to by the economy. So she's another person. Adrian Smith, I've done mention a few times. People will probably get tired of hearing me mention her name, but she really taught me so much and helped me a lot and continues to help me. And I like to refer to her as my blogging mama. And you know how it is. You always want your mama to be proud. So I guess you would say blogging mom over there. So those would be some of my biggest influences and the people that I have followed the longest.
Do you ever suffer from writer's block? If so, how often?
Y'all are going to hate me. Y'all are really going to hate me. I don't recall ever having a problem with writer's block. Like I say, I take the idea and I think about it. I walk around with it. I imagine some of the things that I can write on the particular subject, and then I just sit down and write. And once I start typing the first line or two, it just seems to flow. And I just keep, I thank God every day that this does happen. I mean, I'm currently working on a second book, and over the last couple of months, I've written almost 50,000 words, excuse me, on it. And it just seems like the problem isn't writing. The problem is, what am I going to cut from this to get to a reasonably sized book by the time I'm finished? So. But I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that when I write, I, I don't worry about the introduction. I don't worry about the conclusion. I don't worry about the order I'm going to write the post in. I write the part of it that makes the most sense to me. I do like they used to teach us in high school when they were teaching us about the college entrance test. They always said, answer the questions you know the answer to first, and then go to the ones that you're confused on. And I recently told a book author the same thing. She was having trouble getting started. She was having problems with her intro. And I said, well, don't worry about the intro. Write the book. When you're finished with the book, go back and write the intro. And that's how I approach my blog posts. I just start typing, and if the intro isn't coming to me, then I go to the first paragraph. If what I wanted for that first conclusion, I might work on finding the links to make sure I've got all of the other websites I want to mention. And I like to tell people, if the best way to write a post or to write a book is not to sit down to write a post, sit down to write one sentence. Sit down to write one line, 5 minutes. Give yourself a really small goal, because for most people, once they get started, they will keep typing. They'll keep writing. If they say 5 minutes and they actually get to the end of that 5 minutes and stop, then they really need to reevaluate the way they're living their lives, because they're too structured. Because everybody that I know, I've given this advice to a lot of people, and they all tell me the same thing. I started out to write for 5 minutes, and I looked up, it was 30 minutes, or I looked up, it was an hour. It's all in it's about not overwhelming yourself. It's about not scaring yourself. So that may be why I don't have trouble with writer's block, because I don't sit down thinking I've got to write a 2,500 word post. I just sit down and think, okay, this week I want to talk about fear. Here are my personal experiences or examples I'm going to use, and let's just start typing.
Those were the questions we had for you, Max. So if you have anything else to say, go ahead.
I'm kind of surprised we got through them all this quickly. I am not known for brevity. I recently did a radio show where the guy has a segment at the end where he goes rapid fire with you, and was shocked that I actually answered all of his questions in the minute that he gave me, because it's just not something I do well. I mean, the shortest blog post I've ever written was 500 words, and I think that was my birthday post. So, but a couple of things that I have learned is from my experience in blogging, and hopefully these will help other people. Remember this, it's supposed to be fun or enjoyable. Most people that start a blog, they start it because they want to share their personal story, or they want to promote a business, or they want to start something online that will eventually lead to a business. Most people are doing it, a lot of people, let's say, are doing it hoping to replace their regular 9 to 5 or 10 to 6 jobs. So why replace a job that you're not real crazy about with another job? So try to approach this to where it isn't so serious, and that you don't beat yourself up when things don't come as quickly as you thought they should, or progresses as well as you hoped they would. I mean, here I am, I'm 9 years later into my first business. 6.5 years into blogging. I consider myself professionally successful. I'm satisfied with the work I'm doing as a coach and a mentor, as a blogger, also helping people sell amusement equipment. Have I gotten rich doing it? No. Am I going to get rich doing it? Maybe. Am I going to get to the point where I don't have to worry about next month or next year? I sure hope so. But at this point, I'm continuing to just do my best every day. And try to get better at doing the blog, at doing the radio and TV interviews. Um, I mean it sincerely when I say that I do my best at the time and then try to do it better or do more the next day. But I'm I also, before I forget, I want to thank you for inviting me to do this because I think this will be my first video interview. I've had a couple people who have promised that we were going to do video, and then at the end they figured out that for their site or whatever reason that they ended up posting just the audio. And I also appreciate that there are this is kind of unusual. I mean, I'm 49, I'm going to be 50, and I imagine most of the people in your group are in their teens or 20s. So uh, I I hope that the fact that I'm doing this, that I've left the family business, started my own business, that I managed to lose over half my body weight from having gastric surgery and changing my diet and improving my health. I hope that everything I do on a daily basis is inspiring, especially to younger people, because I would sure hate to see people in their 20s waste as much of their lives doing things that they really didn't want to be doing. I really hate to see them spend as much time as I have not going after their dreams, not doing what they really wanted to do. So I really appreciate this opportunity. If anybody in the group wants to reach out to me, it's theblindblogger.net, or my email is justask@theblindblogger.net. And Mario can tell you, if somebody writes to me, I reply to them. And it doesn't matter whether I think they're going to hire me or ask me to do something for them or offer to do something for me. I feel like it's every opportunity to meet a new person, to make a new friend, to learn from their experiences or to share my own. It's all a blessing and an opportunity. So my Skype is Mr. Midway, MISTER.MIDWAY. I got it when I started selling amusement equipment, and Skype won't let me change it unless I just want to start over, and I really don't want to do that. So, um, and if anybody has any questions for me that they think of after this is over, feel free to send them to me. Um, I I may decide to record my own video answer and shoot it off to Mario so he can post it over there for you. So
Well, I hope you enjoyed that. It, as I said, it's taken a long time getting here, but I'm very proud of it. It's another step forward in my process to become one of the top bloggers out there. And as much as other people have helped me along the way, anytime I get an opportunity to help other people, then I'm going to take it. And this was especially nice because I'm talking to college students, young people. Many of them just started blogging or still thinking about starting a blog or a podcast or some sort of online business. And I've been really impressed with the amount of interaction I've had with the people from the student group since the video was posted. And I hope that you do get something out of the video. If you know somebody out there that's struggling with their blog or just needs some encouragement or some motivation, then I appreciate it if you share this with them. If you have questions about how I do it or what it's like to be a blind blogger, blind entrepreneur, whatever, just feel free to ask. I always feel like it's better for me to answer a question than it is to let people guess. So you know my email, it's justask@theblindblogger.net. My number is 979-215-1770. The websites are theblindblogger.net and midwaymarketplace.com. I do appreciate you listening to this because I do know you have other demands on your time and many other options as far as how you spend it. So I want to thank you. I also know that this is a holiday, so I want to wish you a Merry Christmas, a Happy Hanukkah, a Happy Kwanzaa, and a happy and blessed New Year. And if I can do anything to help you start out 2016 better than you ended 2015, I would love to do that. Thank you, and take care out there.